Hi, my name is Aya. You're watching Aya Reads, and I'm here to intro my vlog of having a color wheel or like a random wheel generator. So this thing basically picking my books to read for reading BookTube's like most popular romances of the last 3 years. So I did a video reacting to Goodreads' most popular romances of the past 3 years, and I talked about all the books I read and all the books I didn't read. And of the books I didn't read, I picked the ones I was most excited about and I put those on the wheel, and that wheel, like I said, will decide which books I'm gonna be reading. As of filming this intro, I have already read almost every book. So I already know which books got picked, but let's talk about the generator first. I screenshotted what it looked like in the beginning. Yeah, this is what it looks like. And as you can see, and I'm sorry I have to cover up my beautiful new Taylor Swift CDs. Actually, while filming this, it is October 3rd, Taylor Swift release day. So anyway, I'll talk about that more in my update of one of the books. So as you can see, it looks a bit different. And the reason for that is I added different weights to these slices. So all of these I'm excited about, but the ones that are part of a series I already started were more important for me to read because I really want to finish or get close to finishing as many series as I can before the end of the year. So those got a weight of 3, and those were Saving Six, Things We Never Got Over, Terms and Conditions, Lost and Lassoed, and Eyes on Me. Then the ones that I was excited about, that I own physically, that I own and also are more considered a standalone, got a weight of 2, and those were The Secret Society of Irregular Witches and Out on a Limb. And then the other two, as much as I'm so excited about them, they didn't get any weights because those do start series that are more than 2 books long, because I know Out on a Limb is a series, but it's only 2 books. So those were Delilah Green Doesn't Care, right? Is that what the book is called? And Say You Swear. So I guess that explains my color wheel basically, and let's cue to the vlog, okay? So I am actually slumping a bit. Basically what happened was I had such a big headache from my teeth basically. So I got, I don't know, I know the Dutch word. What is the English word? Got a root canal treatment. Like I went to like an emergency dentist. I was like, I'm sorry, I'm in so much pain. Can you fix this, please? So he started a root canal treatment. My own dentist has to finish it like in a week or something. But slowly the pain is getting a little bit less. It's just not pleasant. And I'm currently in the middle of another reading vlog. And it's taking me too much effort to actually read those books. Not that those books are difficult to read at all, but I don't know. So I figured let's actually do the wheel right now and see what I get. And hopefully I'll be a bit more in the mood for whichever book gets chosen, except... Okay, I'll just tell you right now, the reading vlog I'm doing is the Gold Rush Ranch reading vlog by Elsie Silver, which hopefully by the time you're watching this video, that vlog will already be posted. So usually I really love her books, but obviously that is a particular type of series. It's like deals with a lot with horses, which, I mean, it's not that I hate horses, but I'm just not a horse girly. And obviously it's very cowboy-esque. So I know, so if you look at the wheel, Lost and Lassoed, very much a cowboy romance. I guess that's the only one. But then there's a couple very big books. I don't know if I'm in the mood for that, but then I also want to continue series. So let's just spin the wheel and see what I get. Okay, Terms and Conditions, which yes, that is on my TBR. Let's hide that slice, by the way. I actually have it right here. But this is a giant book, almost 500 pages. Yeah, I think I'll just start it. And this is A Marriage of Convenience, which I do tend to like those. So yeah, I guess I'll just update you once I'm partway through. So I read and actually finished Terms and Conditions. This was not the plan. The plan was to update you halfway through on my thoughts and then do another update once I finished. But by the time I was filming for my other videos, I was already almost finished, so I figured let's just finish it and give you all my thoughts after. This book is the second book in the Dreamland Billionaire series, and I'm reading this series out of order. I actually started with the third one. This is the second one, and I'm going to be finishing with the first one. And this series, if you don't know, is about these three brothers whose grandfather was like a Walt Disney type figure. In this book, it's called Dreamland. Anyway, so the grandfather died, and in order for his grandsons to get an inheritance, they each have a particular task in the will to finish. And Declan's task is to get married and have a baby. And if he accomplishes that, he'll get his inheritance plus become CEO. So he is the grumpiest of all the grumps. Like, nobody really likes him. He doesn't have friends. He, like, every single assistant he's had has left within a week. All except for Iris, who's his current assistant. She has survived for 3 years, but now she's trying to help him with his inheritance by finding him a wife. And he, once again, keeps running them off. So the only option there is for her to volunteer to become his wife. He doesn't like that idea, but then on the other hand, he really doesn't have any other choice. Plus, he does seem to have a soft spot for Iris. Iris is Cal's best friend, which Cal gets the next book, and I loved Cal, so any Cal in this book I just ate up. Both of them have daddy issues. Declan's father is a ginormous dick he seems to me like a cartoon movie villain, because it doesn't seem real. Like, I cannot believe, with everything this man does, that he used to be like a good father, which is what is claimed in this book, that he just spiraled ever since their mother died. So he obviously has father issues. He just thinks he's unlovable and nobody likes him. And Iris also has daddy issues. Her father was very abusive, and then her mom and her left, and she never really had any contact with him. Plus, she also has dyslexia, which when she was growing up, teachers used to tell her she was stupid, classmates used to tell her she was stupid, and her own father used to tell her that. So she also deals with that insecurity, and she has done her hardest to hide that fact. So she doesn't want to make any mistakes, so she is working nonstop. Like, she works 6 days a week, like 12-hour days at least, to accommodate Declan, but also to check things twice, 3 times, just to make sure that there are no mistakes. They have to really pretend that they're in love because his father is circling around, trying to sabotage him every step of the way. She obviously has to move into his house. She has her own like secret hidden room so that his staff doesn't realize that they're not actually married, or that they didn't marry for love, you know? And eventually this is going to be their romance. I was umming and ahhing a bit of what rating I would give it. I settled on a 4-star because I have to tell you, in the beginning, I had real issues with Declan. Like, yes, I like a grump just as much as the next person. In fact, some of my favorite MMCs have been grumps, but he was downright mean, especially in the beginning, where I could not really understand why he would say the things he did. Plus, I also felt like, for me at least, it felt like his leap from not wanting anything to do with Iris and it just being a strictly business thing to him actually liking her and wanting more with her, that leap was way too fast in my opinion, which is crazy since this book is so long. So I just didn't understand. I felt like I had more insight in Iris's thoughts than Declan's, even though Declan also has his own point of views. And yes, they were less than Iris's, but I feel like if a character gets a point of view, then I want to know, like, him going from it just being business to him wanting to try for real, that leap should make sense to me, and it just didn't. Also, this book felt a bit too long for me. Like, the paperback I have is 470 pages. I believe the ebook version I read was 480. Like, it just didn't need to be that long. So those were the reasons why it was not a 5 stars. Some of the things I did love, however, were... so he is obviously an emotionally repressed hero. And his mom, like, that has always been the case for him. And his mom taught him ways to express his feelings by using his own words for it. And that evolved into him using, like, foreign words that have no real English translation to express his feelings. And that kept coming up in this book. And I gobbled every one of those words up. The Dutch language has a couple of those words that don't have a direct English translation. And I was waiting, chomping at the bits to read them. And there were two in here. And I love that. So gezelligheid is one of them and gunnen is another. So I just love that. And I also loved reading like all the other like words that had no real English translation. I am a sucker for a marriage of convenience. I just am. I loved the kind of forced proximity it creates. And of course, I love that the hero gets to say my wife, which is one of my favorite things in books. So obviously I loved all that. I also loved how jealous he was. Like that was clear from very early on because she does have a special relationship with Cal. And the way he was jealous of his brother for his friendship with Iris, that just made me smile every time I read a scene of that. And what I also liked about this book is, yes, it did take, like, this was definitely slow burn. Like, it doesn't, like, I believe it takes them well over 300 pages to finally do the deed. But when they do, whew, was it hot? Like, Lauren Asher does know how to write sex in her books, I do have to say. Do I have any other thoughts? No, I think those are my thoughts. There's not really, like I said, I felt like this could have been 100 pages shorter. I'm sorry. 5 stars or 4 stars, still a good rating. But of the two I've read, what's the book called? Final Offer, which is Cal's book, is definitely my favorite. So I am interested to see what the first book is going to be like. Because in this book, we did see we did get a couple scenes of Rowan and Zara, and they are the couple in the first book. So that was my first book. Let's spin the wheel and see which book I'm gonna read next. So let's do a screen recording. Okay, Irregular Witches, what's the full title for that? The Secret Society of Irregular Witches. Yeah, I'm excited about this because I was planning on reading it anyway in October. So I'm excited to read it. I own it on ebook already, so I will be reading it on ebook. And if I love it, I'll buy the paperback. And we'll see which one I want to buy because both are very cute and cozy. So as of filming right now, this will not be the next book I read because while I'm filming, it is actually September 21st and it's already like 9 o'clock. So in 2 days, Alchemize will come out. So that will actually be the next book I read. And that is over 1,000 pages long. So let me see when I actually can read. Oh yeah, the book I'm planning on reading next will be The Secret Society of Irregular Witches. So very excited about that. So I guess you'll see me in about a week's time with my first thoughts on The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. That is the longest name ever. So see you then. So a change of plans actually, because I told you in my last update that the next book I was going to be reading for this vlog was going to be like in a week, but it's actually the next day. And yesterday evening actually started my next book. And today is Monday, but I have the day off. So right now it's 3 o'clock and I really have done nothing but read and cleaned up a bit. So I started The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. And yeah, I'm halfway through. So, and I do, even though Alchemize comes out tomorrow, I do anticipate that I will for sure be finishing this book today because I'm reading it while listening to the audiobook, and the audiobook tells me I have about 2 hours left. I have no doubts that I will finish it. So The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches, people don't really know where to put it. Obviously I'm reading it because it was in Goodreads most popular romances. I know it was also, I believe, in like the most popular romanticises. I get why people would put it in the romance category. For me, however, it feels more of like a cozy fantasy with a romance subplot. You follow Mika Moon, who's a witch. In this world, witches are real, they do exist, but they have to keep it a secret. They meet every third Thursday of every third month. Mika has been calling it like the Very Secret Society of Witches, something like that. Witches in this world have certain rules they have to abide by, and the biggest rule is that you cannot have multiple witches interacting apart from that one Thursday every 3 months, because whenever there are more witches in a certain place, that attracts more magic, which means it is easier for them to get caught. So Mika moves around a lot. She doesn't have friends. She's very lonely ever since she was a child, because one other thing about witches is witches don't have parents. Meaning whenever a witch is born, shortly thereafter, their parents will die. She has been adopted by like this ancient witch called Primrose, this leader of this certain witch society. Mika has basically done everything Primrose has said, but she wasn't really there for like actual parental stuff. So Mika has been lonely ever since she was a child. So to try and get some semblance of a community, she has become like a witchy influencer where she, pretends to be a witch. And she thinks, that's okay because people won't actually know that she's a witch until one day she gets this message on her social media saying that this person needs her help because he needs like an actual witch to help her with these 3 witches that need guidance. She's skeptical, but since she needs a new place to stay anyway, she decides to take them up on their offer. And when she gets there, in Nowhere House, there are indeed 3 witches living there. One who is 10 years old, one who is 8 years old, and one who's 7 years old. Other people who live there is a grumpy librarian. And then there's this housekeeper, and then this gay couple who lives there too, an older gay couple. We follow Mika as she navigates her role in this like big family dynamic, and also her trying to teach these witches how to control their powers. She's never done that before. Plus, one of the 3 girls is very against her being there, so she kind of sabotages every step of the way. I am really enjoying it. Like, first of all, it is so whimsical. The writing style is very whimsical. And yes, I know we don't like to talk about J.K. Rowling, but it really reminded me of especially that first chapter of Harry Potter. That is kind of the writing style sometimes, which I do tend to enjoy that. It feels magical. It reads very magical, like this third person, omniscient point of view, I guess. What I also really love about this book is that it is effortlessly diverse, because Mika she was born in India. Then the 3 witches, one of them, let me see, I did mark it. One of them, the oldest one is a black girl. The youngest one is a Palestinian girl, actually. And then the third one, I believe, is Vietnamese. Yeah, but all of them, and Mika as well, they were found when they were very small. So they basically grew up in the UK their whole lives. It's also like very British to me, like the amount of times these people drink tea, but also like the Britishisms, the tiny British towns they visit. I enjoy it. Like, I feel like it feels real to me, and I just wish it was actually true that there are these witches living amongst us and the things they can do, like the type of magic they do. So the romance is forming, but it's just not that big of, like, it's just not the main focus of the story, and therefore I feel like it's more cozy fantasy as opposed to cozy romantasy. It is between her, Mika, and the grumpy librarian. Also about the diversity, obviously, like I said, there is a older gay couple who I adore so much. So going back to the romance, it's between her and Jamie, the grumpy librarian. He also was not really a fan of her being there. He was also resisting her being there. And there are some secrets about him, but right now where I'm at, which I don't know if I said that, but I'm halfway through. I'm on chapter 15, page 163. They have had, like, they kind of, both of them don't sleep very well, so they have taken to meet up late at night, drinking some whiskey together and talking to each other, which I do enjoy. So I do like them together, but I'm not reading this because of the romance. I'm reading it because of like all the witchy things, the found family, the 3 little girls, because I think that all of them are very adorable. Of course, the middle one, the one that is against Mika being there, yes, I have issues with her, but then on the other hand, she's an 8-year-old girl. But especially like the older one, the one who loves reading, and there was a scene of Mika taking her to a library, and that was just so adorable, the way she was so excited to finally be outside, because since they cannot really control their magic, they've been confined to the house and the surrounding area, so they never really go outside. So for these three girls do have interesting names. So Rosetta is her name. For her to be so excited to finally go outside, that just warmed my heart. Mika has a dog called Cersei, who's also very, very adorable. So yeah, I am enjoying my time. I think it is like, it gives me all the cozy feels. Like this is exactly what I wanted in the fall. So, and I can definitely see why it's so very popular. I will be actually doing a cozy witchy vlog in a couple weeks. So this one was actually supposed to be on it. So maybe I'll actually read the second book, the something magical innkeeping, A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping. Maybe I'll read it for that vlog because I really love her writing style. And I just love this, like I said, I love this found family. The characters really leap off the page. So it's a very character-driven story, not so much plot-driven, because yes, she's trying to teach these girls how to become better witches. And there is like a threat looming of this solicitor who needs to come to the house, but he is not a witch and doesn't know about witches, so they're scared that he's gonna find something out. So she has 7 weeks to teach these girls to control their magic before he gets there. So that is basically the plot, but I'm not reading it for the plot, I'm reading it for the characters. So yeah, like I said, I'm enjoying myself. I will be finishing it today. I have to, because I need all day and the next day and the next day after that to read Alchemize. So yeah, I have about 2 hours left, but I also have to do some other stuff. So I think I'll finish it in the evening. So I guess I'll talk to you then. So I just finished The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches, and I really enjoyed it. I'm gonna give it 4.5 stars. Everything I said in my first update still stands, and like my criticism in my first update also still stands, which is why I gave it 4.5 stars. I really wanted to give it 5 stars, but for me, the plot was lacking a bit, and I felt like, especially, and I'm not gonna spoil it, but everything that happened in the end felt a bit too easy. Like the problem that was set up from the very beginning of the book should not have been this easy to overcome the way it happened in this book. Either the problem shouldn't have been as big as it was proclaimed to be in the beginning, or this book should have been a bit longer so that we could see this problem being addressed the way it was supposed to based on how big it was. I don't know. I hopefully it will make sense to the people who actually read it and will be vague enough for the people who have not read this book. Having said all that, I did enjoy it. Like I really, like I said, the characters were the shining stars, literally. I enjoyed almost every single character interaction we had. Yeah, there's not a lot of other thoughts I have, truly. Like everything I wanted to say about this book I already said in my first update. As far as the romance is concerned, yes, it wasn't lacking because I did enjoy these two together, but I just don't understand why this was classified as a romance, because to me it is very clearly not a romance. Yes, it has a romance in it, but if a book has romance in it, that doesn't necessarily make it a romance. Like the romance was not a main plot point at all, in my opinion, even though I did read some reviews and some people who are not romance girlies did say that it was too much romance for them, which I guess I get. But then on the other hand, like for me, this was definitely more found family, Mika trying to find her place in the world and in this like family dynamic, and her finding her purpose in life. So I guess I would say it feels more like a women's fiction, but like in paranormal form, which I mean, obviously I like that too. So what I'm gonna do, I know I wanted to pick all the books out based on the color wheel, except I really need to read Lost and Lassoed. Let me get it right here. It is on my wheel, and I guess I could try to spin it, but I have to read this regardless because it's like the only thing on my TBR that I have not gotten around to. And all the other books, I do want to read them, but this one I have to read. What I could do is rig this, but in that case, like what's the point really? Let me see if I can rig it. Okay, how about we do, okay, let's do, oh sorry, I have to go here. Let's give Lost and Lassoed like the most weight it can get, like a 10, I guess. Okay, so if it doesn't pick it, then that's gonna be sad. Okay, let's save this. I guess let's spin. Okay, so if it doesn't get picked, I'm gonna be angry. Or we're just gonna spin until it actually gets picked. How about that? Eyes on Me, I would be interested to read. But no, we need to read Lost and Lassoed. Yay! Look at it! It picked it. Look, would you look at that, okay? So this is the third book in the, what's this series called? Rebel Blue Ranch. So I've only read the second book so far, so I still need to go back and read the first. But this one is the one that I was most excited about. Plus this one is the one that is in the like most popular romances list of Goodreads. This is a cowboy romance, and you follow Gus and Teddy, and they have been very well set up in the second book at the very least. Like I said, don't know if they were set up in the first book. I would assume so because Teddy is the FMC's best friend and Gus is the FMC's brother. So he's a single dad, he's a grump, so yeah, cannot wait. But like I said, this time I am serious because right now it's almost 10 o'clock at night, which means there's only 2 hours before Alchemized gets downloaded onto my device. But I'm gonna go to bed now so that I can wake up early to start Alchemized. So I will not be starting this right now, but this will be the next book I read after Alchemized. You know, Alchemized, the way I talk so much about it, obviously I will leave the vlog linked for you since I talked so much about Alchemized in this video, even though this video has nothing to do with that book. So yeah, very excited. This is probably gonna be the last book I read for this vlog. So hopefully it will be a good one. Alrighty, I just filmed my intro and I just got ready to watch the Taylor Swift movie, the premiere basically of her new movie in theaters, the official release party. So I have to go to Rotterdam to watch it because the two friends I'm watching it with, they live in Rotterdam. So I'm gonna take my book with me, Lost and Lassoed, and hopefully I'll finish it because right now I'm on page 212, which means I have about 90 pages left. And I probably would have finished it if it wasn't for Taylor Swift releasing a new album today. I was so distracted. I still read a bit, like I still read some pages of this book today. And yesterday I was so into this book, like I just inhaled a lot of chapters because I'm really enjoying it. Basically, this is the third book in the Rebel Blue Ranch series by Lila Sage, and I only read the second book for the Goodreads Choice Awards of last year. Even though that book wasn't my favorite, I was really, really excited for Gus and Teddy's book because their romance was very well set up in at least the second book, probably also in the first book, but I hadn't read that yet. Probably it was better set up in the first book considering the FMC in that book is both the sister of the MMC from this book and the best friend of the FMC of this book. So, but like I said, I've not read that one yet. Teddy and Gus, like I said, it is a sister's best friend or best friend's brother romance. But Gus and Teddy have been around each other because Gus's father or Teddy's father came to work at the Rebel Blue Ranch. So Gus's father's ranch when Teddy was just a little girl. So they basically grew up together. He's 8 years older, but she really became best friends with his sister. She and his sister got into trouble a lot when they were younger, and he kind of always had to bail them out, and he always blamed Teddy for them getting into trouble. And now both of them are adults and they just cannot stand each other, but they're forced to be around each other because it's a small town and they share similar friends, and like his family members are her friends. So like I said, they are very antagonistic towards each other. Both of them are not afraid to lash out at the other one, and they're just petty and mean to each other. Gus is a single father, which I love, of course, and the mother of his kid, who he has a very good relationship with, she's out of town for 6 weeks to do or more even, like throughout the summer to do this internship because she wants to be a lawyer. And since he's supportive, he told her to just go ahead and do it. But they had a very good structure going on with the parenting of Riley, his daughter. Like they had a very good schedule. Like she would be at Cam's, who is the mother, who will get the next book, by the way. Riley would be at hers for like Monday through Wednesday, and then they would switch Wednesday through Friday or something, and then on the weekends, I guess they would switch around. But now Gus has to take care of his daughter full time, which he has never done. And also he still like has a lot of responsibilities at Rebel Blue Ranch since his father is getting older. Gus really has a lot of responsibility and he cannot seem to delegate. So his whole family notices that he is dropping the ball in every aspect of his life, basically. So at work, he seems to be forgetful. He shows up late a lot of times. And with Riley, even though he normally cooks, now it's just macaroni and cheese from a box. The laundry keeps piling up. His house isn't as clean. And on top of everything, he forgot to pick up Riley from soccer practice. So that just gutted him. And actually, it's Teddy who ends up picking Riley up because nobody else is able to at that time, which also pisses him off because he doesn't want help, and especially not from Teddy of all people. So since his family is worried about him, they kind of stage an intervention, and his sister Emmy tells him that he needs help and tells him everything I just told you. At first, he's very, very reluctant to accept help. He just doesn't want to. And then eventually he agrees. Emmy tells him that he just needs like a babysitter for those days where Riley usually goes to Cam's place, and she has the perfect person in mind. And it's, of course, Teddy, because Teddy recently, like the day before, lost her job. She worked at this clothing store. She really loves clothing. She designs her own clothes, and she was doing a very good job in that clothing store. But her boss has sold the rights to the name of the shop, and she's closing down because she's older and really would rather take out this big paycheck and retire, which good for her, instead of keeping this clothing store in this small town. So Teddy is gutted and doesn't really know what to do. She does get paid half a year's salary, so she does have a bit of time to think about what she wants to do. But now comes obviously the perfect opportunity. Teddy is very reluctant at first because she knows that Gus hates her and that this is not a good idea. But Emmy convinces both of them, so she does start, and she ends up living with Gus and Riley the days that, like, on Monday through Wednesday. So this is also kind of like a roommates to lovers romance, which of course I really love. There's a sick parent in this book because Teddy's father is very sick and she is used to taking care of him. And now she has these days where, yes, she's working with Riley, but Gus loves to cook, so he cooks for her. So it is also like a breath of fresh air for her that there's somebody else taking care of her instead of her always being the one to take care of other people. And while she's living there, while Gus sees how good she is with Riley and that he might have misjudged her, they get closer and eventually it's going to be their romance. Like I said, I'm really loving this book. The amount of times I giggled and the amount of times I kicked my feet is... I cannot even describe to you how many times that has been. Like, I cannot even keep count. This book is adorable. It's so easy to fly through. I love both characters. I think their banter is amazing. And I loved every aspect of their relationship. I was just laughing at them when they were still so antagonistic towards each other. I loved the part where both of them realize they may have misjudged the other one. And I'm loving the point where I'm at now where they're actually developing feelings and actually realizing, but also confessing that they do feel more for each other. I'm just really loving it. I do. I love this book way more than the second book because my biggest criticism with the second book is I felt like the romance was not built enough because these two hadn't known each other before. And since her books are pretty short, her books are around 300 pages, I felt like that book needed more pages to really know the characters and to really understand their dynamics. Whereas in this book, since these two have known each other their whole lives, it was easier to buy into them eventually developing feelings. Also, it really... Since it's such a small town and Riley pretty much grew up with, or not Riley, yes, Riley too, but Teddy grew up with the writers. There are also solid relationships built with his family, which obviously I also really love. So I love Riley too. She is such a great little girl. She's a scene stealer. I love it when she's in this book. And I love how she unintentionally create these beautiful moments between Teddy and Gus as well. I love the relationship Teddy built with Riley too, even though they do know each other obviously and they do love each other already, but the fact that they actually are spending so much time together. They are developing a relationship because of that. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it. Like I said, I would have finished it already if it was any other day. But yeah, hopefully I can finish it today on the train. And if not, for sure tomorrow morning, and I'll give you my final update and close this vlog out tomorrow morning. So I finished Lost and Lassoed yesterday night, actually. And then I was planning on filming an update in the morning and I just forgot. And now it's the evening and I'm back home. So let me give you the final update. I really enjoyed this book. I gave it 5 stars. I think it's more of a 4.5, but the way I inhaled it, even though I was still reading it when Taylor Swift's new album came out, whenever I picked this book up, I just read more pages than I had intended, and that just says it all. That means I'm really, really enjoying a book when I read more than I intended, and especially with other things going on, like, I'm not gonna lie, Taylor Swift's new album is pretty... I would usually pick that over anything else, but this book... Anyway, I think I said enough. Moving on. I think I said most of the things I wanted to say in the first update because, like I said in that first update, I was already pretty far in. The reason this is 5 stars is because I really like their dynamic, but I really, really love Teddy. Like, she really made this book for me. I love a FMC just like her. She's pretty and witty. You might get that reference, maybe not, but I just love her. I love how she is not afraid to pull her punches, but also how soft she is too, especially in relation to Riley. How she loves fiercely, that is clear in this book. And also what I really love about this book is that it explores feeling like you're falling behind in life, and that is where I am basically. Yes, my career is going well. I really have no complaints there, really. But yes, I see my friends getting married. I see my friends having babies. I see my friends buying houses. I see my friends doing all these big life things that I want. And yes, I am 100% happy for them and I wish them the best and I want them to have all those beautiful things. But the fact that I am not really where I want to be, I really related to in this book. And I like that conversation was had in this book on page. I know, I felt like that was really real. One thing I didn't love was Emmy in this book, which I still need to read her books. I really need to read her book. I've never read Done and Dusted, but she was so annoying to me in this book. I was not a fan of her, so I am... Like, her book is going to be probably the last book I read, considering I think the 4th book in this series will probably be in the Goodreads Choice Awards. So that inevitably leaves Done and Dusted. I'm gonna finish with that. But yeah, I did. And even though I don't know, I feel like even her apology in the end didn't really make up for my annoyance with her throughout the latter half of this book. What else did I want to say? Oh yeah, the epilogue didn't make sense to me, I do have to say. I almost took a half a star off just for the epilogue, but since it's only the last 7 pages, it felt not proportionate to actually affect my rating for an epilogue, like to change my rating for an epilogue, so I just left it at that. But that came out of nowhere, and I didn't feel like it was true to the characters. Moving on, I am excited about the 4th book though, Dusty and Cam's book. I love a pining hero, so that is definitely going to be that book. So yes, that was Lost and Lassoed, and that was the final book I read for this vlog. So my ratings actually went up the more I read. So the first book I finished for this vlog was Terms and Conditions, and I gave it 4 stars. The second book I finished for this vlog was The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches, and I gave that one 4.5 stars. And I read Lost and Lassoed, which I gave 5 stars. So yes, I ticked some books off from that Goodreads list. I don't know if I'll get to any more books in that list. Let me actually check, because there were actually some that I was planning on reading anyway without a vlog. So let me talk you through those now. Hunting Adeline I'm currently reading, so that was on that list, so I will be reading that. Before I Let Go, I did want to finish that series this year. So that one is high up on my TBR for this year. So I do think I will get to that one. When the Moon Hatched, I thought the second book was going to come out this year, but it has been pushed back to next year. So my plan was to read When the Moon Hatched and its sequel in the same vlog. So I will not be getting to that one this year. Quicksilver, however, I am. because Brimstone comes out and I once again want to read Quicksilver and Brimstone in the same vlog. And The Songbird and the Heart of Stone, I was really planning on reading that one because I wanted to read the fourth book, but I don't know when I'll do that. I am planning on doing a romantasy version of this vlog where I read a couple books from that romantasy list. And this list also had some romantasy, so maybe the books I pick for the romantasy vlog will correspond to this list as well. Yeah, I think those are the ones that I for sure will get to. And then maybe there are some others that maybe I'll get to, I guess. So yes, I'm rambling now. I'm gonna stop. Definitely let me know if you've read any of these books and what your thoughts were. Also, if you've read any other book on my spinner wheel, let me know. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Definitely let me know by leaving a like if you did. I thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day and I'll talk to you later. Bye.